Hey guys, it's Alex the Real Mr. Robinson here, and I'm going to start doing a new series of videos every month, and that is where I read your YouTube comments. Sometimes when I'm working on YouTube, I don't have the time to reply to all the comments that I get. Sometimes I just don't know what to say, sometimes I want to reply, but then time goes on, I just forget to. So why don't I just go through all the YouTube comments I've gotten throughout the month and pretty much read the best ones. They can be positive, they can be negative, they can be totally random as long as they amuse me. Whatever I find to be the best comments to read, I'll read them on a video. I picked out my favorite comments that I've gotten throughout the last month, and without further ado, let's just jump right into it. This can be for any video that I put out. It doesn't matter when the video came out. It could be 3 years ago, as long as the person writing the comment commented in the last month. So we're going to start off with a comment that I got in my review for Rocky Horror Picture Show, which comes from Crazy Alarm Studios. I saw this movie when I was 12 and I remember every bit of it. It was honestly the worst movie I have ever seen, and with good reason. There is no plot, there is only one good song, Time Warp, and it was made knowing it was bad, which pisses me off. The purpose of a movie is to make good art, not bullcrap to trip balls over for 2 hours on a Friday night. I agree to a certain extent. I don't think Rocky Horror Picture Show is a good movie, despite the rating that I gave it when I reviewed it. I do like 3 songs. Time Warp is my favorite, so I'm glad we agree on that. Then I do enjoy Science Fiction Double Feature and Sweet Transvestite. And Tim Curry is just still fascinating in this role. But yeah, it's not really a good movie, but I can't see myself hating it. The only thing that I really hate, and this is honestly after I saw the midnight screening again, is the midnight screenings. I just don't understand how something as bizarre as Rocky Horror Picture Show got formed into this weird, disgusting, just overly sexualized and downright crude event. Because I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show at midnight with a couple of Stardusters, and it was a weird experience seeing it out of college because it just made no sense how all these jokes or the people talking along with the movie, how anything relates to Rocky Horror Picture Show at all. Because at least with The Room, it's like watching a live riff tracks. You're making fun of the movie as it goes along, and every joke that you make is within context of the movie. The Rocky Horror Picture Show, it just sounds like people spewing random shit that doesn't involve the movie whatsoever. And it was kind of an ugly experience. I don't know. We're going to move on to the next comment. I'm not going to take forever on these. Alright, this next comment I did comes from the Halloween trailer reaction/review from Daniel Olinek. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. I would say that I'm excited for this movie, but none of the sequels past the first movie are good, solid films in their own right. So I'm just fine with the trailer, and it's cool that John Carpenter is coming back, but other than that, I'm not excited for this movie. I can see why. Back when The Force Awakens was coming out, it's like I wanted to be super excited. I wanted it to be my most anticipated movie of the year, but we had to sit through 3 prequels, which were terrible. Well, Sith is cool. I enjoy Sith. It just was one of these things where it's like none of the other past movies have been that good, so I'm going into this with a little bit of hesitation. I can definitely see that, but at least it's just following up the original movie, and Blumhouse has been on a very good track record, so hey, who knows what'll happen. Next up comes from a YouTuber that I'm very familiar with. I've never met him in person, but I've seen a lot of his videos. Sean Chandler Talks About, and this is in my Upgrade review. Yeah, this is the type of movie I get excited about and want to tell others about. The plot is familiar, but executed in a way which just makes it interesting and makes you think. Every time I thought the plot was getting too predictable, it would turn things in a new direction and surprise me. I definitely agree. The more I think about Upgrade, the more I really enjoy it, especially with the ending. The ending is just really one of these things where you think it's going to go one way, and then it just pulls a 180 and goes in a different direction, and you admire the movie for that. We're halfway through the year, but right now it's looking to stay in my top 10. We'll see what happens. I mean, if this is another fantastic year like last year, I might have to do another top 20, but right now I'm planning to try to reduce it to 10. Alright, the next comment is from my review for American Graffiti, and I said that I was going to bring up comments that were also negative. Not to the extent of, like, the horrible and disgusting comments on my Alien Covenant review. Go check out that review and look at the comment section if you want full clarity. But this one comes from Sandy Russell. This movie came out when George Lucas was an unknown, and it put him on the map. The success of American Graffiti is what allowed him to eventually make Star Wars. Shows how much you know. Ugh. Yeah, American Graffiti may have been a hit, but it didn't bring in truckloads of money the way Star Wars did. It's like with Steven Spielberg when he made Duel. Duel got his name out there, and it was a massive hit for being a TV movie, but Jaws was the one that really launched his career, just in the way Star Wars launched George Lucas's career, in a way where he was allowed to do whatever he wanted. He wasn't held back, because he didn't have the easiest time getting Star Wars made either, because it went through a lot of trouble. It was originally supposed to come out in December of 1976 and then pushed to May of 1977, and then the rest is history. So I do thank you for the comment, but I just feel like Star Wars launched Lucas's career more than American Graffiti did. This next one is a comment that I actually replied to, but I thought it was funny enough to mention in this video, and this comes from my Gamera vs. Virus review from Ibmaltos. Virus' face reminds me of the grumpy eagle from the Muppets. Yeah, I actually replied back, and I never really put it together that Virus kind of looked like Sam the Eagle, where they constantly have this irritated looking face. I just never really put it together. There was something about Virus' face that amuses me, and hey, now I know. And no one's half the battle. Next up comes from Theta in my Annihilation review. Annihilation isn't perfect, but some of its components are absolutely stunning. I predict it will become a cult classic down the line, mostly due to its trippy ending, which mirrors influential sci-fi like 2001: A Space Odyssey or Solaris, with a message that seems equally scientifically and spiritually profound. I also agree that one of the weak elements is Jennifer Jason Leigh, but I always think she's annoying in movies. LOL. Yeah, for Jennifer Jason Leigh, I just don't think she was really given a lot to do, or she just was not good in that movie at all. I really still like Annihilation. Not as good as Ex Machina, but Jennifer Jason Leigh really dragged the movie down a lot for me. Next up comes my review for Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest from Justin123. Flawed as hell? What are you talking about? Dead Man's Chest is the best. We'll agree to disagree. Next up is from my review for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone from Tobias Logan. He can't jump off because he counts as a player, as the knight, and he can't land on another piece. Okay, so a little bit of context. One of my criticisms with Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is something where it didn't make sense to make this change in the movie that was in the book. What he's talking about is the game of wizard's chess. Ron is a knight, and in the movie he's actually latched onto a big knight piece, but in the book he's taking over its own space. So in the book, when he sacrifices himself, the queen just kind of knocks him to the side and he really gets injured. Now in the movie, I had a problem where Ron didn't just jump off the knight piece after he sacrificed himself to just land off the board, because he's already been taken out, and usually in chess the piece gets taken off the board. So he could have injured himself by jumping, but it just, I don't know, he didn't get hit at all. That's my problem, and everyone's trying to make it a big deal that Ron's in danger when he was in more danger in the book. But that's a little more clarification, and I do appreciate the comment. The next comment was on my Jaws 3D review, and this comes from CinemaFan97. I think that the premise behind this movie was interesting, setting the movie at SeaWorld and making the movie in 3D, but it was poorly executed. I think that instead of the Brody sons being the main characters of the film, they should have left them out and brought back Hooper. Plus, Hooper working at SeaWorld makes more sense than the Brody sons working at SeaWorld. Also, the movie should have had better effects and should have been more in the tone of the first two films and less B-movie-ish. What do you think of my idea of what Jaws 3 should have been like? I do like the idea of bringing Hooper in, because in the first Jaws he was established as a marine biologist. But let's just put this in the context of when Jaws 3D came out. Jaws 3D came out in 1983, when like the second era of 3D was in full effect, and movies that were in 3D at the time were not considered really big. So the minute you made a Jaws movie in 3D, you already lose all credibility, because you're competing with stuff like Amityville 3D, Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. It's not like the way 3D is today, where if the movie came out today in 3D, with the technology that we have, then yeah, it could have been really cool. But back then, just the idea of making a Jaws sequel in 3D already loses credibility. If you took out the 3D, then I think Jaws 3 could have had a lot of potential to it, but with the 3D, no. Alright, the next comment is on my Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review, and this one kind of irked me. This comes from Jurassic Avenger Goji14. Hey dude, don't be manipulative. You shouldn't influence other people's decisions about what you like or dislike. I'm gonna see this movie, and even if I don't like it, I'm not gonna tell people watch it at your own risk. We're not AI. People can decide for themselves if they want to see a movie or not, and not let other people's opinions influence their decisions. Not trying to be rude, but don't be this way. It makes you look like a dictator, and that's no good. Plus, this is only a movie. Y'all are taking it too seriously. I'm sorry. I'm coming across as a dictator for voicing my own opinion on a movie that I don't particularly like? I feel like you're probably taking this a little too seriously if you're really resorting to me being a dictator. And plus, you entirely missed the point of this rating. Whenever I give a movie the rating of watch at your own risk, that means I don't like this movie in particular, but you should go out there and see it for yourself because you might enjoy it, or you might not. The only person that could judge this movie is you. And plus, with reviews, it's always good to get any sort of opinion out of it, whether it's positive or negative. There are a lot of movies out there that I don't like, but I enjoy hearing the opposite opinion. There are a lot of movies that I really like, and I enjoy listening to people who don't like it as long as they're not being complete asshats about it. Alright, we're gonna wrap this up with 2 more comments. This one is very short. It comes from William Stone on my Let's Play for Star Wars Battlefront, the 2004 one. I just found your channel and I love it. Well, thank you for that. I hope you've been enjoying a lot of my other videos, considering that this is mainly a movie review channel. Okay, the last one comes from my review for Godzilla Final Wars from... Oh, this is awkward. Mr. Robinson. I don't know why, but I really like your name. I don't know. Something about it just rubs me the right way. I just can't put my finger on why it sounds so familiar. And with that, we're going to end this video. So for any video out there, whether it was from last month or years ago, if you leave a comment there, I will read it and then pick out the best ones to feature in next month's video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead, subscribe, like, leave a comment. Don't forget to support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.